Hey guys, welcome to the Acrylic Asylum. I'm Mike Ferris, and to get started, I'm going to be on an 8x10 hardboard canvas. And from the traceable image, I've just put down just the horizon for now and where the sun is going to be. And this is just to block in the sky, and then I'll proceed to transfer the rest of the image after the sky and some of the foreground dries. Okay, so to get started, I have my number 11 flat brush, which I'm going to use for the background first. And on my palette, I have some Phthalo Blue, Violet, Light Magenta, Permanent Red, Cad Orange, Cad Yellow, Raw Umber, and Titanium White. So I'm just going to start blocking in some colors generally where they go, and I'll adjust them along the way and add other tones on top of other ones. So for now, I'm just going to take some Phthalo Blue and just a touch of this primary red into it. And then to that, I'll just get just a little bit of Titanium White just to brighten it up a bit. And now I want to dull that just a little bit. So with the tip of my number 11 flat brush, I'm just going to take just a little raw umber to that and just something about this tone here. And like I said, this is just base coat for now, and I'm going to go in and adjust along the way, but I'll just start blocking in with this for now. Okay, with a clean number 11 flat brush again, I'm going to take now some light magenta, and to that, just a little bit of this violet into it. And now I want to dull that just a teeny bit with some of this raw umber, so just the tip of the brush, or the corner there, and something about like that. And again, this is just base coat for now. I want to work on top of this, and with this base coat underneath, it's going to give just a better look to the overall final color with some stuff playing underneath and give it more of a full, more realistic look this way. So I'm just going to bring this down to the horizon like so and go around this little sun area here. So leaving that open and just something like this for now. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into that blue and again my number 11 flat brush. And one more time, just another coat, because in the acrylic world, of course, first coats are just really transparent and not all that great looking. It's just a rough kind of a foundation. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead now and take some more of this magenta and a little bit of that violet into it. And then again, I'm going to dull that down with some of this raw umber. And then again, bring that up with some titanium white. And now I want to get more of this magenta involved and a little bit more titanium white. So just changing the value just a little bit, and on top of this darker value that I did before, I'm not going to cover all of it. As you can see, I'm going to leave some of it open. And this just brings, again, just more depth and more of a cloud look to the sky this way, and just really makes it more smooth and builds it up a lot more this way. So as you know, with acrylics, it's all about layers and then colors on top of other colors that gives it the look that it does. So just going to smooth this out and, like I said, leave some of that other purple showing. Okay, so going a little bit lighter with that same sky color as you saw, just a little bit more titanium white. And down here, it is going to be just a little bit lighter since it is getting closer to the horizon. And I just want to take and fade it up into that darker value just a little bit up top, and it gives it more of a natural gradient this way. Okay, now I have my number 2 natural round bristle brush. It's great for cloud effects, and I'm going to take some light magenta and some titanium white to brighten it a little bit. And right here with the natural bristles and with a dry brush, I'm just going to scrub this in. And as you can see, it gives that really nice cloud look to it. And I highly recommend these natural round bristle brushes. And if not, using a flat brush works too. You just have to kind of work a little bit more at it. But these round bristles, they really bring an immediate look to it, which is nice. And I just really love these brushes for this effect. So just going to streak some light value in the middle there you saw. And now I'm going to take just a little bit of Cad Orange and just tap a lot of that off. And now I just want some of this light magenta into it. So it's kind of this peachy, orangey sort of pink color here. So right here, just a little bit different transition on color, and I'll just scrub this in. Okay, now I'm going into some light magenta, just a touch of this primary red and a little bit of that Cad Orange, and also a touch of this Cad Yellow and some more of that light magenta. So this just gives the light magenta sort of a warmer peachy glow to it. And again, with my natural round bristle brush here, I want to go ahead and tap a lot of that paint off, and again, a dry brush. And I just kind of want to scrub it into the clouds a little bit, and as you can see, it just sort of brings a glow to the clouds. Okay, going back into the sky color that I made here, and here's what's really neat is if you don't like your clouds, or maybe there was too much, I'm just going to go in here and just knock some of these back to any degree that I want, and I can even fade some of this color into the clouds, and then in turn that makes the clouds look more like that foggy cloud look to them. Okay, so anything you want to do, you can just push these colors around, so really just go for it and just totally be creative. Okay, going into now with a clean brush, some Cad Yellow and just a little bit of the light magenta. So again, looking for that light peachy pink kind of glow color. And now some titanium white, and again, a little bit more of this light magenta into it. So something about like this. And again, this is my number 2 natural round bristle brush because this is what really blends in color really well and it makes that cloud effect. And so like this, I just want to go on top of this other lavender that I put down. And so see, just building these colors and these layers up and putting these base coats down really play together and really brings out this cloud look and some of these really nice colors. Okay, so just taking titanium white, and right here there's going to be sort of these cluster of clouds here that are going to be getting lit up by the sun. So I'm just sort of blocking this in, just kind of bringing a separation between some of the values here. Okay, and so just scrubbing that in and sort of fading it off. Okay, without cleaning, just taking a little titanium white, and in some of these clouds I just sort of want to add some highlights, and of course I'll settle some of these down. Okay, again, no cleaning necessary, and again, picking up more of that magenta. And see, just like this, I'm going to go back and forth and settle down some of the highlights and pop some of them again once I put some more darks and more saturated colors down. So any degree I want to play these back and forth, or if I want to cover anything up with another value or put more sky involved if the clouds become too much, it's all good. And every time I put another layer down, it gets better and smoother. And this is what acrylics is all about. It's push the colors around, build up layers until you like what you see. And of course, use the right brushes if you have them and apply the techniques, and everything will work out just fine. So again, I'm getting that same peachy, orangey, magenta color. And this time, as you can see, it's lighter with more, with more titanium white. And so again, just bringing that up and just sort of fading that up. Okay, now with a clean brush, going into some Cad Yellow now, and to that, just a teeny touch of this Cad Orange, like a pin drop is all I need, where it will really take over. Okay, some titanium white, and now just to dull it just a teeny bit with some of this raw umber into it. So something about like this, there's going to be this direct sunlight that's zinging through the clouds like this, so I'll take this color here and just sort of fade that out into the sides as it gets out. And of course, anything I don't like, or if it becomes too heavy, I can take that magenta color and fade back over it or knock it back to any degree. So as paint runs off the brush, you can see I'm just sort of brushing that out, and this makes a really nice gradient between that magenta and this orangey yellow color. Okay, so going back into that blue now. And once again, I'm going to push some of these clouds around and apply some of this color in here. Okay, with a clean brush now, I'm going to take some titanium white, just a touch of this Cad Yellow to it. And again, this is my number 2 natural round bristle brush, and it is a dry brush. And I'm going to tap off some of that paint. And right in here, I'm just going to dance it and just kind of let these broken lines happen however they want. And naturally, this gives, again, the indication of a cluster of clouds that are passing in this area. Okay, after the run through with the natural round bristle brush, I'm going to take those same colors of yellow and white, and with my number 11 flat brush now, I'm going to streak in some of these different shapes like this, and also add this sort of yellow sort of hint of a glow that's happening where the sun's sort of bouncing through the clouds like this, and it sort of has this yellow hue to it. So just here and there, but not everywhere, and letting those other values play along. And again, if it becomes too much, I can take another value and cover anything over. Alrighty, going back into some more light magenta here. And just a teeny touch of the Cad Yellow that warms it up just a tiny bit. And now just a little bit of titanium white to brighten that. And I want to go back up into the clouds again And again, this is my number 2 natural round bristle brush, and this is going to really help to pop these clouds out. And blue is a very strong color, so this is going to take a few coats to make these clouds show up and pop, but each time I do, it gets a little bit better and smoother. And of course they show up a little bit more. So as you can see, I've taken now more light magenta and applying more pigment to my brush. And again, just making these shine and then blending out the rest of the paint out into the blue like so. Okay, now taking some Cad Yellow and Titanium White. This time a little bit more Cad Yellow so that we have more of that color showing up. And I'm just going to go through in the center where the cloud is getting lit up like so. And I don't, of course, want to cover up all that orange, but I just want to put it in the very center and then just sort of fade it out into that orange. Okay, with the rest of that yellow color on my brush, I'm just going to take and scrub the top of these clouds here. And that really shows some of the light playing and bouncing through here from the sun that's coming through. Okay, and here and there I'll just streak some of that in as well. Okay, now I'm just going to pick up some Cad Yellow into that light magenta mixture with some titanium white. A little bit more white this time. As you can see, it's kind of this dull peach color. And I want to go over some of this lavender here. And again, this is very light paint on the brush with my number 2 natural round bristle brush. And I'm just going to dry brush and scrub that over. And this allows some of that lavender to show through, and it really brings a realistic color look to the sky this way. So this is another reason why I like to put down base colors first, because of this. And it really just brings out so much more than just a flat painting this way. So now I'm just going to take some Cad Yellow now and some titanium white. And again, right here, I'm just going to brighten up these clouds and make some direct indications. Okay, without cleaning, just taking some Cad Yellow now and just a little titanium white and just wiping some of that paint off. And again, I just want to go in just here and there and scrub in this yellow hue, and this really gives a nice glow and shine to these clouds. Okay, going into Cad Yellow now. And I want to go on the outside of the sun right here. And I'll just start right above where I want it the brightest, so I'm not covering all of that up. And I'm going to take it on the outside. And just very little pressure, and as paint runs off the brush, I can blend it into that lavender sort of, oh, I don't even know what to call it now. Out into the sky like this. Just going to lightly blend that out. Okay, so just a little Cad Orange as you saw there, and I'm going to put that on the very outskirts there. And just a teeny bit of orange, like a pin drop. Any more than that, and probably have to add some more yellow to blend back over. It'll just take over. Okay, so now more yellow into some titanium white. And right in the middle here, I just want to take and, again, as paint runs off the brush, just blend that out into that orange value. Okay, now I'm going to take some of this magenta, light magenta, and a touch of this Cad Yellow and white. And with this very light pinkish color here, I'm just going to take and fade it off right where the orange and that lavender color meet. And this just enhances the glow and helps to give it a softer blend and a better gradient. And now I'm just going to lightly take that as paint runs off the brush and blend that out like so. Okay, now I'm just going to take some titanium white without cleaning, so I have just a little bit of yellow in there. And I want to start brightening up the sun, so where I want the brightest and heaviest, I put the paint there first, as you saw in the middle there, and then just going to drag it out into that orangey sort of yellow color there and just fade that out like so. Okay, again, more titanium white. And if you get too heavy, like I feel like I did right here, it's all good because I just take that out a little bit further than I wanted to. It's all good. And I can even use my finger to sort of blend that out a little bit. Okay, and then I'll just go into some Cad Yellow like so, and I'll just fade that back the other way over the white. And in this way, I can just sort of play them back and forth until I get a nice smooth gradient. Okay, and then I'm taking some Cad Orange here just a little bit and going on the very outside, so this will enhance the glow and it'll help to brighten up the sun as well. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for a minute, and I'm going to take some light magenta and just a teeny bit of titanium white. Okay, and I want to go back into the clouds, and again, this is my number 2 natural round bristle brush, and just going to scrub these back over and build up another layer and make these pop and show up a little bit more. Okay, so now I want to take my natural round bristle brush again, and with just titanium white, just go into the center and start building up the bright shine of the sun. And again, as I get outside with less paint on the brush, I'm just going to fade that in. Okay, so now I'm going to go back over again with some Cad Yellow and titanium white. And again, just play these colors back and forth and build this gradient up. Okay, now I'm going to take some Cad Yellow, and now I want to take some light magenta. So again, I want this sort of orangey, sort of pink, peachy color, I guess. That's how you call it. Just these variations here. So something like this, kind of a tan color. And I just want to take and just very little paint on the brush and drag it out into that lavender color. And so, as you can see, it makes it look very bright and gives the sun a nice glow this way. Okay, now I'm going to take some violet, and without cleaning, and just a teeny bit of it. And right here, I just kind of want to make a separator between these light clouds there and this lighter stuff around the sun. Okay, so now that it's dry, I'm going to take my wax transfer paper to transfer the rest of my image. So one side is waxy, and that's the side that goes against the canvas. And I'm just going to pull down the image here, and with my stylus, I'm just going to trace the rest of the image out. And this is the traceable that you can get over on Patreon down in the description box. So definitely check that out for help with the drawing process. So as you can see, the indications of where the trees go, and with my number 2 flat, I'm just going to take the edge of it like this and do this little number and make these foliage indications. Okay, so now with my palette knife, I'm going to make up a general dark color here. So I'm going to take some raw umber and some phthalo blue. Essentially, that makes black when you mix those two. And into that, I want to take some of this violet color. And so that just kind of gives it just kind of a subtle violet hue to it that I feel was more fitting than just, say, permanent black. But you can use whatever colors you want, it's fine. So I'm just going to load up the number 2 flat brush like so. And right here, this one's going off the canvas, and with the corner of the brush, I'm just making these little tap marks, as you can see there, and just kind of working my way down and going about to where the line is for the tree indication based on the image here. So just kind of something like so. And I'll just work this down, and when paint runs low, I can turn my brush over and use the other corner, of course. And each time I load it, I want to make sure that I get a nice chiseled edge and that my brush has maybe just a teeny bit of water on it, because you do want foliage to be nice and crisp and have those nice edges to them. So just something like this. So as I make my way down, I want to make some openings and not cover everything, of course. And as I do that, as you can see, the trunk shows through and just adds a lot more detail this way. Okay, and based on the image where these lines come across, this is for the distant tree line. So I'm going to wiggle on both sides and then pull through on my number 2 flat. It loads it to a nice sharp edge like this. And with that edge, I'm just going to hash in these random lines, and I don't want to make them, of course, all the same size, or it'll look like maybe telephone poles or, like a fence in the distance instead of trees. So I'm just going to fill in the rest of the area down below like this. And this will give a nice indication of some distant trees. So again, with the corner of the brush, I'm just going to make just these teeny tiny little indications of distant trees. And this just brings out more realism and adds a little bit more details. Okay, so I'm going to do the foreground now with just a base coat for the snow, and with that I'm going to have some Phthalo Green, and I want to add some Phthalo Blue to that. So I want this sort of just barely dulled down, vibrant turquoise color, so just a pin drop of raw umber to that, and now some titanium white to bring that up. Okay, a little too green there, I want it more to the blue side, so a little bit more Phthalo Blue into that. And a little bit more white to brighten that. So something about this value, and I'll just block in the snow with this. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up some titanium white without cleaning and see I can just brighten it any time while it's still wet. And with this value, I want to go more with this. Okay, with a clean brush and with my 11 flat brush, I'm going to take that dark tree color and I'm going to block in the river with this. Okay, and with the edge and the corner of the brush, I'm just going to make those little indications in the distance. And you can make these however, just a little broken up, just kind of going off into the distance like so. Okay, a real quick dry on medium heat with the hair dryer will allow me to put down some highlights and other colors on top of this base coat without mixing in and making all just one color. So real quick with that, and now that it's dry, I'm going to take now some titanium white to that same snow color. And this is my number 2 flat brush that I'm using. And something about like this, and I'm going to start hitting the trees now with just some of these snow or flockings or whatever they're called. And you can do this however, and I say just go for it and practice, because if there's something you don't like, of course you can take the dark tree color and just cover back some of that snow to any degree. So really just go for it, and this is a perfect piece for practicing trees, and I say it's very forgiving and very easy to do these. Okay, now I'm going to take some light magenta and a little titanium white to that. And this is going to be the color that I want to use for the distant trees, because the sun is going to be shining on them. And it's going to have sort of this reflective light color on that snow on those trees. So I felt that this little light, sort of dull magenta color would have been the more appropriate color for that. Okay, and so with the very corner of the brush, you can see I can pick out the trees and sort of just give the indication of where one tree is and then another one. So, and again, anything you don't like, just take the dark color and just knock back anything that is out of place. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into that light turquoise color with some more titanium white. And let's hit these trees with this. Okay, so now with the sun shining through, it's going to hit some reflections on some of the bumps and texture of the snow. So I'm going to take now some light magenta, just a teeny bit of raw umber to dull that down, and now some titanium white, and quite a bit of white. This is going to be a very light, muted magenta color here. So with this, I'm just going to take the edge and just show the indication of some of the bumps and dips in the snow here, and you can put these however and wherever. I would say just make them a little bit smaller as you get, of course, further up the canvas to show distance, and then they get bigger, of course, as you come forward to the foreground. So with that, just go for it. Again, if you don't like how maybe a highlight came out, just take that dark blue and cover it up. So as you can see from the highlights from the sun, it really shows the texture of the snow and the lay of the land in this way. So you can do those however you want. Okay, so I'm going to take some Phthalo Blue now, a little bit more Phthalo Green, and some raw umber to dull that down a bit. And not as much titanium white. I want to make this a little bit darker. And this is going to be a darker shadow color that will show some more texture in the snow and more definition with some of the dips. And of course, underneath the trees, there's going to be this darker shadow color as well. Okay, let's contrast those highlights a little bit more. I want to take another layer of this light magenta and some raw umber to dull that. And then again, quite a bit of white to brighten that up to make that very dull magenta color. Okay, something like this. And I want to go back in and let's add another coat of these highlights and make them pop. Okay, going back into that snow-based color there, that's that light turquoise color. And just a little paint on the brush with my number 2 flat. And I want to go back over these dark areas that I did. And I just kind of want to settle over those a little bit. And in this way, it blends it down and it just makes everything look a little bit more natural this way. Alrighty, now I'm going to go into some of this light magenta, just a touch of this Cad Orange into it. And now some titanium white. quite a bit of titanium white actually, and just a little Cad Yellow to warm that just a little bit. Okay, so something about like that, and I want to start in our river, and I'm going to start applying colors, and I'll vary these and blend them together and settle them down and all that, but this is going to be the start of reflecting the sky. And as you can see, I'm leaving some of that dark, and I'm not covering up everything, especially the banks on the sides. But by leaving some gaps, it's going to leave some room to show some ice and some rocks that are kind of in the creek there. So just going to base coat this for now, and like I said, leave some openings. Alrighty, now I'm going to take some of this violet color now, and I'm going to add a little bit of the light magenta to it. And to that, just a little bit of titanium white. Okay, and I'm going to just play this color in and just sort of fade that here and there. Alrighty, now I'm going to take some of this primary red and a little bit of that light magenta. And let's warm that up a little bit with some Cad Yellow and brighten it with some titanium white. So maybe something like this. Kind of gives that sort of orangey, peachy, pink color. And I'll just place some of that in right here. Okay, so as you can see, I left some gaps there with what looks to be some ice-covered rocks, and I just put some light values here and there, and it just shows some snow-covered, frozen stuff in the creek there. So very simple to do, nothing to that. And there is our reflections. And again, you can build this up to any degree and push those colors around however you'd like. Okay, so for me, I'm moving along, and I'm going to start making the sun here. And it's going to really shine through the trees and show the sunlight sort of making some of those trees disappear a little bit. So I'm going to take some yellow and a little bit of this Cad Orange. And now just a little bit of titanium white to that. Okay, something about like that. And I just want to take my number 2 flat brush now, and right here in the trees, I just want to start building some light that, again, is going to be sort of swallowing up these trees out here. And very little paint on the brush because this is more of a glaze, meaning that I can see through this. And of course, it's not a lot of paint because I don't want to take over and lose all of the details that I built up in the tree, but I want to be able to see through that and still see the tree, so it looks like light coming through it that way. Okay, so now I'm going to take, again, some more orange and some yellow. And I'll just start applying, again, a very thin coat, barely any paint on the brush. And again, just glazing that over like so. Okay, no cleaning, and I'm going to take now some primary red and just a teeny touch of Cad Orange to that, and wiping most of that paint off the brush, just very, very little paint. And on the very outsides, I still want some of that orange to show, but with the red involved on the very outside like this, it really enhances the glow and just how bright the shine is. So now I'm going to take some Cad Yellow now, and a little touch of Cad Orange to that again. And a little titanium white. And again, I want to come in here and just sort of strike that. Okay, now just titanium white, and in the very center, let's really brighten up the sun, and then I'm just going to fade it off to the sides. And with just a little bit of paint left on the brush, I'm going to streak it through and into those other colors just a little bit, and that just brightens it up and gives it that awesome shine that much more. Alrighty, so with my script liner brush, lots of water and that dark value, I'm going to go ahead and sign right here. And I want to thank everybody so much for joining and following along. Let me know down in the comments section if you found this lesson to be clear and any comments or questions you may have. And don't forget to subscribe for more video lessons that I'll be putting out. And until next time, happy painting, everyone.